it's quite nice sometimes to lift the arm and put the towel underneath the back. That contains your breasts for you, but then also this hand would need to be across your breasts at this point as well, and that, but out of the way of the pec. So there, perfect. Because you want control of this arm now, because every time you move this arm, you put the pec on a little bit more stretch, and a little bit more stretch. 90 degrees is where I would start. I tend to have my thigh in the forearm here, and I start to get bad habits because I find it really difficult to keep everything static for level 3. And I start to move the arm, and it's just so natural to want to move the arm into abduction as you glide through the pecs and then come back out again. So for me, you want to try and keep yourself in a relatively stable position and just work in and around the pecs and down the deltoids, into the coracoid brachialis and into the biceps. There we go. That whole unit. So don't stop at the joint. Release the pressure at the joint, but then go down into the coracoid brachialis, the biceps and the deltoids. Anterior deltoid could be tight and pulling forwards. So many things that's going on. So this is the start of your progression of the massage. 90 degrees should be fairly tolerable and pleasant, hopefully, as well. If we move to 100, now the stretch is becoming a little bit tighter. And remember, I'm driving my body weight down through that. It's not been on much of a stretch now, but the pecs have become tighter, and then Carly's face is starting to register that that's a bit tight in there. Now I do use my palm and I just friction across it, like that. So I start to create little zigzags as I work my way through.
Yeah, see, like now that's fine.
That's all good? Coming up a little bit tighter. Sometimes I do this with the forearm. So many little nuances. I try and teach you everything, but this softens it and this tightens it. So if I've moved the position from 100 to 120 and the straight arm is a bit much, I might just soften and leave the arm as I go.
That's cool in level 3.
I feel like it should be. Really, I'm just doing
it. As long as you're not going to fail, that's all right.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we do any level 4 stuff, what does that mean for us? Like when we...
we'll just say, I think you did some level 4 stuff there.
So we're not penalised for that then?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
As long as it's you, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Not convincing.
I think, like, you're level 3, like, technically you should be static.
Well,
I don't think that's...
every moving arm.
You shouldn't be moving joints.
Right.
But I don't think that's the industry standard. So I think the curriculum and the industry standard don't marry up all the time.
Okay.
But we're not getting failed if we do a bit of movement of the elbow?
No. I feel like technically you could say if you did this, that's a transverse friction. Pectorals. So if you were doing this...
As long as we have a reason for why we're doing
this. But you could just say this is like a passive stretch. And I'm palpating the pecs. Or clockwork.
Are we meant to say what we're doing when we're doing
No, you just crack on and massage. We will not ask you questions or get involved in the massage. You just do your thing. And if things look like they're borderline not quite right, then you can just say, oh, I was just... Like, we'll ask you, what were you aiming to do?
Not a transverse friction.
No, you would just say, oh, I'm just mobilising the shoulder and giving it a nice rotation and stretch. It's almost like rocking or shaking as well. The line, I think, like the line between each of the techniques starts to merge